All right, let's see how this works. All right, I did a little bit of switching. Hey, 4 people in the room. I'm running from only one camera right now. I got rid of my XSplit broadcaster to see if it helps the stream work a little bit better. Make sure you guys let me know how the stream looks to you. Is everything in focus? Is it playing real good? Hey, Allie. This is the pretty rock I'm working on, Allie. This stream's been having some problems, so I just reset it. Does the picture look good to you, kiddo? Yep, we got 7 other people in the room. Looks good, says Cherie. I appreciate the feedback. That definitely helps me right now. Every time I start having some problems, it starts throwing me off. So I'm going to put my get up on again and get carving. And once I know everything's running good, then I'll go ahead and talk about some other stuff. Well, it wasn't you, Paul. It was on my side. I froze up not because of you guys, but I froze up because of something going on in my computer and such. So I removed one of the pieces, one of the streaming applications, because I was going through a processor into YouTube Studio, and now I'm just using YouTube Studio pretty much. Once again, I never did go and... Hello, Landon. I never did go and oil my drive shaft in this like I meant to. Hey, Catfish. Yeah, I would totally use that if I had it. I don't have any on hand. I'll probably just end up using the WD-40 that's downstairs. Right now, my plan for the end result of this piece, Cherie, is that I have a hole running through it, right through here. You can see my point right there. So right now, I plan on cutting this and having it to where I can string it as a pendant through that hole and through this back section, so it'll hang from this side down. That's my plan right now. Right now, unless I absolutely have to and somebody sends me a offer that makes it worth it, I don't plan on selling this stone. I plan on hanging this stone around my neck. And yes, I do plan on cutting off all this excess matrix. But right now it's a handle for me. It's easier to hold and not drop and such. I gotta slow my water down. It's going a little bit fast. There we go. Is that dark material a good indicator that a stone might have fire in it? I have a good sized stone, can't see color, just a dark on the inside of the stone. If you mean dark, you're talking about that sort of brown, red, and blacks. Well, it'll be. Yes, that is a good indicator as long as it's from a good source. Another good indicator is the banding. The banding you'll see in any agates, in lots of different kinds of agates. But the banding in fire agate too, you don't have to have color on top to end up finding a whole bunch of color inside in the banding. Paul's a DX Ninja says he can wire wrap this thing beautifully. Probably extremely true. You guys can't barely see what I'm trying to get rid of, but there's little flecks. There's little flecks of bronze inside the green. It's especially on the outsides of the bubbles that it distracts from the green. Yet if you look in that right there, if you look in that hole, you can see the tip of that green bubble got sliced and it's got a blue right underneath. And it does appear that it's directly underneath of the green. So I might polish down to the blue, yet I'm always a little bit hesitant because I've lost so many stones with amazing color to not quite so amazing color. That blue is really showing up right there, though. You can definitely see that blue, though. Right now, though, I immediately want to get rid of these little bronze areas. And I want to get rid of them without creating any scarring into the stone either. I mean, this stone definitely deserves some gold, and if it was put in some gold, it's a very, very expensive stone. Yeah, right, I agree with you, Landon. It looks like a battery-operated light. Send me pictures of that stuff, Paul. Well, I'm sure some mask is better than no mask, D. I'm sorry she can't get an N95 mask. There's still people around that think this is no big deal. And at the moment, I'm living with 2 of them, but that's going to change real soon. One of those scenarios where I thought everything was epic and awesome and there's no problems, and then I get blindsided and bombarded with a bunch of statements that are not exactly factual. But in this scenario, I'm the one that was relying on their goodwill, so I just need to make it to where they're happy. And if me leaving makes them happy, then that's what's going to happen. I started looking at rooms for rent today, and I found out in this area there's a lot of people that have some really not so great houses that it almost seems like they're trying to rent a room that's going to pay for like 3/4 of the rent on the house. I was so upset by some of the stuff that was said, I was ready to just take my stuff to a storage unit and go sleep on a friend's couch if I had to. I was assured there's no need to be that dramatic or drastic, but Sure did feel like it to me in the moment, that's for sure. So yeah, 16 people in the room. Howdy, 16 people. And hey, Lapidary Dave, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, that's very true, D. If you know anybody that has a P100 mask, that'll work just as good, if not better, than an N95 mask. A P100 mask takes out all the organic vapors and stuff like that. So if you know anybody else that has one, you know a painter that's not planning on painting, I hate to say it, but trying to pull apart a couple of masks I had over here, I had a couple of used ones that were not used that much with spray paint. I could have sent you, but I damaged the damn things getting them apart because I didn't understand how they'd come apart, and it took me forever to figure it out, and then I broke them by that point in time. And for all of you that missed it, I got an email from the Discovery Channel talking about a show they were trying to get off the ground in Arizona. And I had a phone call, not a phone call, a Skype video call with the talent scout for the Discovery Channel for about an hour. And what she ended up learning is that their idea for a TV show is damn near impossible with the way they had thought it would be. The TV show they thought they'd be able to do is just really, it's really not feasible for the most part, because the logistics and the way things actually work, one, in the rock hounding world, and two, with the type of minerals and the amounts that you're able to pull off of public land, and how you're not allowed to sell them and stuff like that, just puts a whole big kibosh in their initial idea. So I pitched her an idea for me and told her I would love to be, be a part of whatever show they get off the ground if they can figure out a way to get any of them off the ground. And also told her I'd be happy to consult. I want some of that Hollywood paycheck money. I thought it went really well. She said she'd give me a call in a week. She also told me that this is just the very, very, very beginning of the process of them starting a show. So in my mind, that means there's like a 10% chance that anything's going to happen from me having contact with this woman. But regardless, it was a really cool conversation, and I hear my computer beeping over there. As long as the stream looks good. You guys start seeing anything wrong with the stream, say something. Bye, Cherie. Cheryl Atkins asks, can't I just use a coarse grit to get down to the color I want? Well, you can, and it's very possible that once you put scratches of an 80 inside of this and you try to polish them out, that you will have almost no color, or it'll be directional and not as bright and constant as this piece is. And yes, I do spend a lot of time on a stone. So far, this stone has about 6.5 hours into it. Yet a stone like this fully finished, it's worth a minimum of $500 once it's cut out. Going from yellow to red, orange to green to blue to purple. Like, it's definitely a very valuable stone. So the hours put into a stone like this are worth it. Now, some other stones, you know, it might not be, but at the same time, once these things go into gold, the value goes up dramatically. Well, D, whoever's up front with the customers is the one that's in the most danger, that needs the mask the most. So if that's her, then she's definitely the one that needs it the most. And right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to get just there's little tiny imperfections of bronze from the last color bar that's showing on this green, but I'm trying to get those to where they're not there anymore. So that's why I'm working really slow, and I'm working in some of these creases. And getting the original shape that the color is running in the stone is super important too, because that has to do with the directionality of the stone. If you cut a flat spot in one of these bubbles, you won't see it from certain angles. You won't see the color from certain angles. It won't move across the stone. And you can cut a flat spot in one of these bubbles on accident while you have water on it, and then you dry it and you polish it, and it doesn't look as good as when it's got water on it, because the water will naturally give it a clear dome to reflect through. You guys can't see it too good, but right in those creases, there's little flecks of bronze. Do you see those little like triangle diamonds of bronze in between the circle? That's what I'm working on, making it just right, getting rid of. There are good stones, there are nice stones, and then there are amazing stones, and this stone is in the amazing category. Yes, I do have some Indian in me. No, I'm using, this is not a 3000 grit right now, Landon. This is a 600 grit burr. Yeah, I'm absolutely convinced that's blue underneath that. Supposedly my great grandfather, or supposedly my grandfather, had Blackfoot in him as the Native American nation. But the only problem with that is that, in general, the adults in my family tree above me are nefarious liars and scam artists and just the most rotten kind of people. Like, so in my mind, I can't believe anything anybody from those people have said. So I still think I need to do a whole 21andMe genealogy search to really find out what my ancestry is. Between a 7 and an 8 is the hardness of agate like this. I had a gentleman tell me about the fire agate mine I got this piece of agate from. And when he did, I was at the Royal Peacock in Denio, Nevada. And his exact words were, if you like opal, you're going to love fire agate. Because I'd never seen it before. I'd never even heard of it until he started talking to me. And boy, was he right. Hard not to love this stuff. If you love opal, man, fire agate's amazing. It's just cabbing a $30,000 opal can take you 30 minutes, an hour, maybe 2 hours at max. Hand carving a $3,000 piece of fire agate takes a huge bit of luck to have the color all running together into making a stone that large. And also time, like massive amounts of time. But I'm taking it really slow on this stone at this point because I'm at the very final stages before I polish it. And trying to go fast will just end up making me ruin it. And that's the main thing I don't want to do. I don't want to lose color. I want to have all brightnesses on at all times. If you don't have any patience, don't cut fire agate. Because it's just going to piss you off. Cheryl Atkins is Cherokee, Irish, and Scottish. Boy, that makes a mean motherfucker when she drinks, I'll bet. checking my mask. It's leaking up by my nose, but it's only when I blow out I can feel the air. The Prospector show got canceled for a number of reasons. I talked to one of the gentlemen that was part of that Prospector show. He does a booth out at Quartzsite every year, at least he used to. I don't know if he's still going to be doing those every year. And he was really unhappy that the Prospector show got canceled. And he came up with another show that he wanted to get started, which was about aquamarine and Mount Antero again. But he made an episode for YouTube that was really good. They found an amazing pocket of aquamarine up there, like a world-class pocket. But from what I understand, it did not get picked up. And I was one of the people on his YouTube channel. When I saw it, I was like, yo, no offense, but screw them. Like, keep posting videos, buddy. You know, because it was a really great video that he posted up. I mean, I wish I had a team so I could make videos like that. Maybe I'll get lucky. I told her I would not want to sell her my Mining America IP, the intellectual property. I told her I would not want to sell that. Let me go through your guys' comments real quick. Thank you, Royal Fikes. I appreciate it. Right on, Paul's D. Both, Cheryl. That's a great question, and it is both. This stone, I'm pretty sure, has some purple in it. It's a piece of rough, and it's very dark, but I can see hints of purple underneath there. I can also see hints of bronze. Yet this is a piece of rough that doesn't have any real powing gem grade showing, but I'm still really convinced that this is going to end up being a purple stone. And yes, you have to take the layers off to get to where it's at. And sometimes they'll be up close and sometimes they'll be down inside. And then sometimes you have pieces of rough like this, where it has a really nice color showing up right underneath of some of the loose sort of agate. And you can just go ahead and polish that and then work the rest of the stone and see what else is going to come out to have colors like that. And this is another section of a stone that I was carving right here, where you can't really see the colors on top. You can see inside of it that it has some layers and some saginite right there. And then this is the stone that's not finished, because every time I thought it was finished, I found something I didn't like and I'd start tooling on it and I'd lose some color and gain some color, and it's just not done yet. And somebody else said I'm the expert. I'm actually not an expert. I do not consider myself an expert. I still consider myself a novice. I don't even consider myself a journeyman when it comes to carving fire agate yet. At the same time, I have gotten a lot of advice from a lot of different people that are really good at this, and I have found to weed through some of the advices. I've gotten some bad advice sometimes from some of them. I'm not going to say who, but I know I know at least twice one person who's a world famous carver gave me a piece of advice and even got mad at me once for questioning what he was telling me. And what he was telling me was just ended up not being truly accurate. One of those pieces of advice I got from somebody was to use a DeShine product, which is very great. Those products are awesome. But he was telling me just to carve down to the color with an 80 grit burr and then polish it up with this other tool and a DeShine product, and that'll be good, and it'll be good for setting in jewelry and ready to go. And that's just not true. It's not, because those 80 grit burrs leave deep gouges and scratches, and you have to deal with those gouges and scratches. You can't just take something with big scratches, even though they're polished, and you can still see the scratches, and think somebody's going to love that stone the way they would if the stone was done perfectly to where it glows like this with no marks on it anywhere. But I'm really good at knowing when I'm like things aren't quite accurate on what I'm being told, or the person's just a flat out bald faced liar. And I did end up having a conversation with that same person later that looked dead at me and said, "Well, we're in competition, me and you, we're competition." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, that's not the way I see it." But that statement, when he made that statement, made a lot of other things he had told me make more sense on why you wouldn't be exactly truthful on what the perfect process is. Because I'm not trying to learn how to do things in a mediocre fashion. I'm not trying to teach people how to do things in a mediocre fashion. We don't start putting this time into stones like this so we can carve stones that are just okay for the rest of our lives. Yes, we're going to have some just okay stones. That's going to happen every now and then. But we want to carve bangers, damn it. Landon Cromdale, I read one of them had a scandal with a couple underage girls. He's in jail, but I figured it left a stain in the producer's mind. That might be very true. At the same time, it's Hollywood. So, like, it's like pedophile fucking capital of the world. You have a friend currently missing in the desert, Steve. What are you talking about, buddy? Give us the lowdown on what you're trying to say. Steve here says he's got a friend missing in the desert. 80 grit is good for peeling off the excess. It's not good for actually getting at the color. If you're near the color, you don't want an 80 grit. Like the lowest grit I go for if I'm anywhere near the color is 325 now. 325 will get me almost on top of it without scarring it so badly can't take the marks out of it. Nova points are good, but Nova points where you have, like, if you stick your Nova point down where this burr comes through, if you try to polish down in there with a Nova point, the different areas are just going to cut into that Nova point and peel it apart. It's going to peel that Nova point apart. That's why I love the DeShine powders so much. Yes, Nova points are good. I wouldn't say don't use them, But what I would say is that the reason I like to shine powders so much is because I can get down into the crevices and not have to worry about the tool. Because I mean, you can burn through a Nova point on an edge or on edges so fast. It looks like that purple might be underneath this bronze layer that has purple and green on it on this wing right here. I've got like a bronze, but then I've got a really bright purple, and it looks like it's sort of on top and might be below it. What was she doing? What was Melissa Crabtree doing out in the desert, Steve? Was she rock hounding? Was she with some people? What desert was she in? Near New Mexico and Arizona. So she was on the New Mexico and Arizona border? Yeah, if I bring out half of the purple I'm seeing in this stone to the surface, I'd be dumb to sell it for anything less than $1,000. Boy, I tell you what, having about $1,000 worth of really good Varencore burrs would be awesome. I need to contact them about a sponsorship. You want to talk about a company that I could really use to sponsor this channel? It's Varencore. Hello, 22 people. Just to let everybody know, because of what I was talking about earlier in the other live stream that didn't go so well, I will have more private stock boxes for sale soon. Probably tomorrow morning, I'm going to set those up and go to put those in my store. So if you're one of those people that was interested in some of those, especially if it's more than one, you can definitely go ahead and send me a shout out. And if you email me before I get them started, I will give you first crack at them by sending you an email or a contact or a message response before they actually go up. Yeah, Landon, you did a great job pulling a really nice green stone out of one of those $35 boxes of cabbing rough. And then the cab you made look really cool too. So you just raised my confidence in my cabbing rough. Grant Stockdale, nice to meet you, buddy. Do I need to store the fire agate I am working on in water between work sections? Absolutely not, Grant. You do not need to do that. Your fire agate is very, very stable. It is not like opal. There is no water content in your fire agate at all. It is not even heat sensitive almost at all. Like, I haven't taken a torch to it, and I haven't taken a piece and sent it to any of my glass blower buddies and seen if they can encase it in glass or anything. But I do know that your fire agate can handle heat. It can handle heat transfer from burrs working on it. It won't split easily. You do not need to soak it in water or have it in water. Just working in it in water gives you a better idea of what's going on. Because when you go and cut on the agate, even with a 600 burr, it creates white over top of it, and you can't really see what you're doing unless it's being washed away by the water. What's a river runner, Steve? Is that just somebody like rafts, kayaks? Yeah, you can get that nice set of Landon, you can get that nice set of 4 Nova points for like 35 bucks. And I mean that's a good deal. Like, for what you can do with them, it's definitely not expensive. Need to move my guard up a little bit because I'm starting to eat at my finger, and I'll let that thing run up all against this, and I just won't even think about it while it's hitting there, and then the next day I'll have a big blister right there. I've done that a couple of times. Almost got this notch going I'm trying to get rid of. I have a little hump going over part of this blue and green little dot that's like a half lid, and when there's not water running on it, you can really see it. It's sort of like it's almost brown. I'm almost there. I'm burning my thumb again. Let me go ahead and turn this a little bit. Can you see that yellow? To you, it looks like a bright yellow. To me, it looks like a bronze, almost gold, sitting on top of the really bright colors. To me, it's an imperfection. Underneath that is either the really bright teal or green or blue. And when I say to you, I don't mean to you personally, I mean to the camera. Oh, damn. That lady's a beast then. I hope you guys find her, man. I hope she ends up being safe. Never good when you hear those sorts of stories because the percentages are never in the person's favor that's missing. All the best wishes to your friend, and I hope she comes out of this safe and sound with no issues. You can still see those little lines of yellow in the creases down there. Once again, to me, it's more bronze than yellow. Almost a gold bronze on this one. A lot of times, that's the color layer in between your other good colors, or the color layer that's backing your good color that goes just a brown agate after that. That happens too. But as far as difficulty level of carving fire agate, this fire agate's like a 4. A 4 out of 5. It's definitely difficult. It's not as difficult as they can be. Some of them can be damn near impossible. Yes, J1017 by. The water does also keep the heat down and prolongs the life of your burr. That is very accurate. I believe you're right, Steve, especially if she's camping when she's kayaking. Every now and then she'll definitely run into prospectors out there. Yep, I always recommend Varancore burrs, Syntech. Those are the burrs I recommend for people. Once again, I need to contact them about being a sponsor of this show. Hey, Margaret, how you doing? Well, definitely check out any of the Facebook groups that are in that area, because there's bound to be Facebook group for prospectors and rockhounds in that area where you might be able to put the call out trying to look for her or look for any of her gear or any sort of signs of life at all. The problem with these little patches of these bronze and gold inside of this color is sometimes you'll be trying to chase them off and you'll end up losing the colors around them. That does happen. My only saving grace is I'm really convinced that underneath most of this super bright green, there's a purple. But blue is actually one of your most rare colors in this. Purple is also, but purple is one of my favorites, but blue is actually more rare than purple is. Actually, I don't, Landon. I probably should, and I do have a loop handy, but I actually don't do what you were just suggesting. Funny, because with the light where you guys are seeing that dramatic blue and purple and green, I see that bronze with the naked eye way more than the blue, purple, and green, which lets me think that it's underneath that bronze right there. And once again, anybody that's watching my show, if you're looking for DeShine products and you're going to buy them from their website, up until the end of this month, you use my name in the coupon code and you'll save yourself 10%. So use CALEKO in the coupon code and you're going to save 10% on any of your DeShine products that you're purchasing. I still mean to do a damn video, but haven't done what I wanted to. Hey, Isabel. And New Mexico is the only place Dee missed, but she's absolutely right. Yep, I just went through the teal and green right there, that little spot. The little spot that I'm actually through the teal and green, I'm pretty sure. But if I look at that bubble right there, that's blue. And that's below that teal and green. Nothing saying that the blue doesn't carries over either, though. I always have to remember with this one too that I don't want to be going at it with the point. I want to be using the body. Because the point will make gouges that are a pain in the ass to get out. Like, I'm sure if I go look at it now, I probably have some lines I didn't want. And although that purple on that wing is really awesome, it's not on all the time. Yet I totally hesitate to go digging. When I get done recording today, I have to be ready for this thing to go to polish so that at least first thing tomorrow, I can make a video using DeShine products on an amazing stone. Send a picture of this to my buddy Tony Johnson. We were talking carving theory one day, and he was showing me pictures of stones he'd sold for over 1,000. And this is in that realm. Nice job, Margaret. So you've been spending a lot of time at the siesta mine, huh, Steve? Don's a pretty nice person. I heard he was finally on some really good color after all those years. He spent years trying to find the right hole. I want to stop digging in that pit right there. I'm sort of scared I'm going to start losing the color and that it's not going to be big, bright, and blue underneath. See, with this stone and with a lot of stones, I've found that sometimes that purple's the thinnest down layer. Like that red layer I've overworked the stone on not too long ago. Might want to dry it real quick and take a look at it. I'm going to dry my stone real fast. Whoops, dropping fire exit behind me. Yeah, everybody join the Mining America group on Facebook and advertise it to others because I do a horrible job of that. I really don't pay enough attention to my Facebook and my Instagram and all that sort of stuff. I really pay a lot of attention to YouTube, and YouTube just takes my attention much more than any of the rest of it. Can still see, well, can still see a little bit of that bronze lip playing on top of that bubble right there. It's reversed for you, so if I turn it like that, you guys will see it a little bit more. And that's the type of stuff I'm going for. I'm going for the stuff that's making it to where it's not quite ready for polish. Because if I give it a wet polish, the discerning eye is still going to see it. Or like Landon said, if you were to take a loop to it, then you would really notice that sort of stuff. And I really want it to be as perfect as I can make it. And it's a gamble, you know, it's a gamble of going through the colors you want. But this stone, it doesn't get too much better with color bars in this stone, in that it has color bars, you know, 1/8 of an inch down from the ones I'm actually carving. You can see those color bars peeking out right down below it. I mean, I don't want to have to go through this stone to get down there. I really like what I got going on top, but I really want it to be a truly top grade stone. Cut really well, and I can still see little bits of stuff here and there, but I'm not quite ready to be done working it yet. Landon, I was wondering if your color disappears. Is it the color you're grinding away, or you just changing the way the light reflects through the layers? Oh, you're slowly taking away the layers, and sometimes you have layers of color that are stacked on top of each other, which make them thicker of that one color. And sometimes you have thin layers of color in between thin layers of bronze. Um, it's definitely the layers in the color. Yet you could have a really thick layer of color, flatten out a bubble, and then at certain angles you're not going to see it because it's flat. Because the way the light plays off of it is the more round and with the original shape that the color is, the better you're going to see it from all angles instead of it turning brown. But it also has to be a relatively good color. This wing, you can see that purple sort of peeking through right there, but this wing is not as bright as the rest of it. It's just not. It's got something going on this area right here too. Like, it doesn't feel speckled the way it looks. And it's possible if I go and just carve through that I'll get to another layer that's like the rest of this. It's also possible that doesn't happen. But with this gouge I cut in it when I was first cutting, which was a mistake. Focus again. There we go. That gouge you see right there, I saw color bars inside that gouge. So it's very possible that I could take this top layer totally off and have some good color underneath. Yes, Margaret, you are right. The Design thin wheels, although not all that thin really, are really nice. They have some Design flex too, and the flex are way thinner than the Design thin. I don't think the Design thin are really that thin. There's some pretty thick discs, but they're super, super aggressive. And with water, they wear away rather fast. They're really, you can use those with mineral oil, and they work way better than when you use like mineral oil with Nova points. Nova points are not near as aggressive as the Design thin wheels. The Design thin wheels are super aggressive. I do need to find myself a metalsmith because I have an old sapphire and diamond ring that I hit my hand with the hammer and I bent it square, and it took me forever to get it off without having to cut the damn thing off. But I want to have that melted down and turned into a fire agate ring. Obviously, with a fire agate, it looks as good as this one. Oh yeah, you can go to the. I should have told you guys that too. You can go to the Deshine webpage, and they have a spot to ask for free samples. Even if you're not buying something, they will send you a sample. I haven't seen what the sample pack is, but anything freed from Deshine is awesome. Of course, using my coupon code lets you save a little bit of money, and then it also lets them know that I talk about them. Yeah, that's a good way to need more. Use those Diaflex and Diathin without any sort of lubricant, and it'll still work. You just are going to end up needing more of them rather fast, more sooner than later. That's for sure. I don't think there's anything I can do to bring color back to that area. Nope, I should just quit trying to work on that area like that. And that gives me more pause about this wing right here. Because that area looks gray underneath. Not so much purple as a gray, like a light purple to gray. I don't want to lose the bright color, that's for sure. Got to give it another dry inspection. DEA, like Dayshine, DEASHINE. Those little dots right there drive me crazy. This whole metallic game going on. The only thing that's not, it looks blue and purple to you, it looks gray to me. That right there is starting to drive me crazy right now. This is starting to look good. Oh, still one area over here I don't like. I don't understand those little white spots. They're not like pinfire, they're more like white spots. Oh, maybe it is pinfire. I mean, to me now that's showing up as purple dots when I turn the stone. Maybe I'm trying to get rid of something that after polish is going to look fantastic. That might be very true. I mean, what? Damn, it looks good. I gotta dry it off again to see how I'm doing, though. Margaret spelled it right for you. I agree, Landon. Totally has that black opal look. Yes, like diamond shine. That's exactly what it's from, Margaret. It's supposed to be diamond shine. Did I say DE or DEA? Yeah, it is DIA. Yeah, Steve, you got to work on some good fire agate to get any skills at cutting it. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to carve your crap so I can, get good at it and then carve good stuff." And it just doesn't work like that. Like, you have to carve stuff with color. It doesn't have to be green and purple and blue. It can very well be orange and bronze. But if you don't learn how to judge the colors and the layers in those colors, then you're never going to get good at it the way you want to. It's a good point, Margaret. I totally could just take it to the shine right now, because it's very possible that some of these little imperfections I have, I could totally get rid of with the shine thin. Yeah, for me, there's still some little. There's still some little iron lines. I'm not quite happy with it. I'm telling you, this shape for your 600 for fine tuning is a must. It really is. It's totally a must. Sometimes for drawing little lines and getting in little crevices, and other times for using the flat side to finish some stuff out that would just the points of your bigger rounder tips just wouldn't work as well. What I'm hoping is that I'll get all this green out perfectly, and I'm hoping that blue does not have any of the bronze in between that I think is under the green. And I'm hoping I can get some of the blue to show through in the green during polish so I don't lose any of the amazing color I have. But you see that blue spot? Oh, right there. See that blue spot? It's in the green. That used to be a green bubble. There. This working upside down and backwards thing kills me sometimes. I can't point at this fucking bubble for nothing. It's pointing at it and getting it to show to you guys. But you know what I'm freaking talking about. It's over here. Little blue bubble in the center of the green. I'm 100% confident that that's the color underneath this area, but I'm not sure how much of this area has it there. See down in the split? See the color that's still showing up all the way down at the bottom of the split? Almost the same green and yellow that's on top. But I think I'm getting really, really close. I think I've got my little imperfection areas I haven't been happy with. I think most of those are almost ready. Well, a lot of times, Margaret, those... Hey, Isabel, yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. A lot of times, Margaret, those really big stones sometimes turn into multiple stones. Or you'll have an area with great color and then a dead spot and then another area with great color. So, I hope they turn into giant, magnificent bastards like this one. One of my best friends that I actually met through the channel that dug with me out at the mine I got this one at. He dug with me a bunch of times out there. He told me that after all of his agate that he brought back, that he believes that almost every piece of agate that has dark colors and white and clear agate on it is going to have fire in it, because every time we broke anything and almost any time he's tried to cut anything or I've tried to cut anything, very, very rarely have we had a disappointing stone. Every now and then we've had a stone that hasn't had any color in it. But almost every time a stone that has the right ear markings has some sort of fire agate color in it. As Landon can tell you, because Landon bought a $35 3-pound box of cabbing rough where there's not supposed to be any stones that have fire agate in them, but every now and then, of course, something's going to get through. He has a nice size Looks like about a ringstone size green fire agate that he pulled out of that $35 box. So there's no guarantees, and even stones that don't look like they don't have any color in them very well will sometimes. Okay, I'm going to dry it off again because I'm getting close to thinking this is ready for its true polish. I'm thinking it's almost ready to be done working it the way I am. My problem is I can always find something to keep going on and end up screwing it up. Tiny little dot right there of bronze. Just the littlest frickin' dot. You see that tiny little dot on that? Is it in the Mining America group or on the Mining America page, Landon? If it's in the Mining America group, then people should definitely be able to find it really, really easily. Oh, I don't like that. I thought that was on top of the green. I think that's in the green. I'm not going to mess with that one anymore. Because I know that down inside of that hole down there, that there's no blue underneath the green down there. I already checked. Yep, I'm convinced I'm by the green right there, and there's bronze right under it. I'm not going to mess with that piece anymore. It's so small, it's barely noticeable. Once polished, it'll still have a yellow, so that's not a big deal. So there's definitely blue right there, but then over here it goes back to yellow, goldish bronze. That's why going through layers when I got layers this good is so neurotic making. Like, I'm not sure I should do that. And this stone is such a magnificent stone. It's probably going to be a 25 karat stone pendant. Probably even more than that, to tell you the truth. Not losing it is the biggest deal. Not losing the color. And I think with my DeShine products, because underneath this yellow there is a layer of green. So I do believe with my DeShine products that it's going to be able to remove some of this yellow and orange and bring that out to green. Either way, it's still good fire agate color. It's not brown. Still that little spot right there, damn it. These little nicks and nooks can be the hardest spots because you don't want to make them flat. I agree, Margaret. I think if you go to fire agate, go to fireagate.ca's website, which is like the authority on fire agate, this one would fall into the realm of imperial stone. Yep, Landon, I have a whole bunch of stones that I haven't finished because I did something that took it too far, and then I just have been too upset to even pick the stone up and try again, because, you know, sometimes you can recarve a stone and make it even better. Not that I've done that. Now I see an area I wasn't focusing on before that. Oh yeah, no, I see that. That was an area I thought I could bring color out, and instead the color started going away right there. That's why I expect the stone to sit like that, not sit like that. Alrighty. Well, for me, I think it's time to go to some shaping on this one. Because I'm good. I think that's ready for its pre-polish. I probably mess with the sides a little bit, but I'll worry about that later. I'll worry about that after I finish shaping it up. Maybe super glue it like that and then do this back side. I'm not sure yet. I know the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to work on this hole, because this hole is where I'm going to string it through a silver bale. Since I don't wire wrap and I don't have the money or the access to anybody to set this in silver or gold for me, although this stone definitely deserves gold, I'm going to make it to where I can bale that side. So I'm going to go ahead and shape this up. You can see those sort of crude markings. I'm going to make the hole a little bit bigger, so at least like a 2mm chain can go through it. And then I'm going to shape up the back and hope that these things that I thought might have been like natural fractures, it doesn't fall apart on me. It's still possible it could like fall apart in that area and that area. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible. You know what? I started with the wrong piece. I should have started with my arrowhead piece. Should have started with this piece right here. I'm trying not to touch any of my area that has color. I'm trying not to touch any of the sort of inchworm area. I'm just trying to go into this agate over here on this other side to make the hole bigger. I want a bigger hole, but I want there to be agate on both sides of that hole. I might just want to end up putting a silver punch for a bail or something on it, though. Now looking at how straight that hole goes through that agate, I think if I string it right through there, it might make the stone hang sort of sideways. I might start to work now. Don't want to work it too much with this 120. Got a nice big hole there. Oh, I did that at the wrong angle. What a dumbass. Well, I'm not sure if I did it at the wrong angle. I'm going to put one at an angle up here, too. You'd think it's going to go through and then it's going to go up, and I put it straight instead of going up. Ah, burn my thumb. Hot thumb, hot thumb. All right, I'm going to switch burrs now. I'm not a big fan of leather itself. I would rather have a silver rope. But that's just me. That's just a personal preference and opinion. Actually, let me take that off. Oops. Oh. hit me right in the freaking forehead. Yeah, it's not near as fragile as you'd think, and if it's going to fall apart, you want it to fall apart on you, the person that's doing the cutting. You really don't want it to fall apart on the jeweler or somebody that purchased the stone. So if anybody's going to take risks, it's better that you take them, and if not as early as possible, before you get to polishing. Because if a stone's going to fall apart because of a natural break or a break from mining you didn't see previously, it would suck to get it all the way polished, drop it off an area it shouldn't break, and then see it break or something like that, and then you have to go through a whole bunch of work again. There we go. That's what I was looking for. These things are a dime a dozen compared to the Varencourt burrs. Oh, don't want to go over the edge there. Oh, I agree with you that if I had a cabbing machine, that cabbing the back of this might be a lot easier and a lot better. That's very possible. Once again, though, if vibration is going to break this stone, then I'd rather it break now from the vibration. Fire agate is not soft. Like, good fire agate is not soft. It's not fragile. I mean, glass is way more fragile than this is. Opal is way more fragile than this is. A good piece of fire agate is relatively sturdy compared to other stones that we like, that we, are gemstones. They're not sapphires, but they sure as hell ain't opal. Don't get me wrong, I love opal. Now, I don't want to go through too much bit more of that on that side, because then I'm going to lose my loop. And it's just going to end up being an inchworm. So I really don't want to grind through too much more of that. But once again, if it's soft stuff, if it's a really thin connection, then I don't really want to put. Oh, shit! Ah! I burnt the hell out of my thumb on that one. Expose the color in the rough. Misty Epperson, how you doing, Misty? If that's a question that you have a golf ball size piece of rough with a dime size piece of color, should I cut the color out or expose the color in the rough? Expose the color in the rough, working from the outside of the stone to the inside of the stone. It can be easier to work from the outside of the color to the out from the outside layer of your dime size spot of color to the outside of the stone. But if you do that, you have the potential of making a mistake and running your rougher grits over the color and losing that color. Now, depending on where your rough is from, you might only have that dime size piece of color in the rough. At the same time, you might end up exposing a golf ball size piece of color if you work the stone. So I say, work the damn stone. Absolutely. Don't just cut the golf ball size piece of, or don't just cut the dime size piece of color out, or you might ruin a crazy awesome stone. Like, yeah, don't do that. Definitely work it. Work it, baby, work it. I'm setting it down on a relatively flat surface so I can really see where the high spots are. Because holding stuff in your hand, you can misjudge it. I misjudge it all the time. But once again, I am not a professional at this. No matter what I lead you to believe. It's like I sort of want to lose some of this thickness over here, but I honestly can't because of the way it dips. So I think I'm going to undercut it. I'm going to round it down to where all this other color is poking out over it. I'm right next to those color bars now on that front face. Not wanting to mess those up. Margaret, oh, how can you stand it, Landon? Well, he's sort of right. Because, I mean, if you're always thinking about rocks, then I guess that's sort of like rocks on your mind, in your mind. So that sort of works as on your head, in your head. He went out for a walk today by the river, came home with a pocket full of rocks. So he's enabling your addiction. That is so funny. Well, hey, if you're going to be addicted to rocks, better these rocks than crack rocks, right? Thank you, Bug Life. It is totally a wicked stone. Oops, I'm going the wrong direction. It is butamus. It is ginormous. Too big to be a comfortable ringstone. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Shaping it up for a pendant. Well, don't want to go dropping it. At least I got plastic below me, though. Still want to undercut this side and the other side. Right, Paul? They sure are. I got much better quality rocks than the rocks you get off the street. I am too, Steve. I would like to get back out. I got some life issues to figure out first, though. But I have plans and ideas, and if one thing doesn't work out, I got ideas for others. I would say when this stone's done, it's probably going to have 10 hours worth of work into it. And anybody that loves fire agate will tell you this stone is worth it. Totally worth it. Set it down on a semi-flat surface. Oh, it's looking much better on a flat surface. It has to be thick because of the way this front end goes. And I'm going to taper it a little bit. I need to fix up this nose section. But I'm going to fix that even more with a 325. In fire agate, Margaret? Oh, you bought a used RV, huh, Landon? Is that what that statement means? I got a hell of an RV story. Anybody ever see that movie RV with Robin Williams in it? That had to be written off a true story. Because my first RV owning experience was very similar to his rental experience. I keep trying to get the water drip on it, but I'm missing. Oh. Well, when I'm looking at it straight on now, I don't see any chunks of brown fire agate sticking out on the sides, and that's what I was looking for. I can't thin it out too much or I'll lose its flatness and it'll be sort of like bumping up and down, and I don't want it to do that, as I plan on it being a pendant like this. So it's definitely going to keep a lot of its thickness down here, but one of the saving graces, the reasons too, is because those color bars run. And the way those color bars run, I'm going to try and shape the nose to where you can see them a little bit, if at all possible. Which I only have about 15 more minutes to work on this in this stream. So, time to switch from the 80. And move to what I know is not a 120, but I think it's like a 220 or something. I'm actually not sure what this burr is, but I know it's not a 120. Got to be careful with these big flat-nosed burrs. I can end up grabbing the top of this stone with it and totally messing it up where I don't want it to be. Well, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't on camera, guys. I have to be careful. I'm going to go over that with a different burr. Just like the nose of this, I got to go over the nose of this with a different burr. Oh, gotta be careful about that spot. That's where I don't want to go too thin. Sorry guys, did it again. Can't remember if there's anything I missed. I could dry it real quick. Find out. That rocks a little bit, but it's not like, not 1000% too wobbly. I mean, officially, this is Cal Sydney. It's just Cal Sydney with bomb-ass colors, man! Man! Almost dropped it. I still have my little cut section right there. It looks horrible. When you look down on that part right there, it just looks like fucking shit. See what it looks like when I polish it. I might end up recutting that. Yeah, I might. I might not. Might just need to stick my 600 down there and sort of level it off so it's not so dramatic. Of course, I could always finish going through my other grits on the backs and the sides of this when I'm not live streaming. I can definitely do that. Well, I made a little divot in it I didn't mean to make right there on the nose. Didn't mean to give it that little divot there, but it was sort of cracked and broken, and you can only sort of do so much with stuff like that. I should have undercut that a little bit better is what I'm thinking now. Well, it's time to call it quits for the moment so that I can expedite this process and have a nice stone for polishing. I'm probably going to cut the rest of this in the morning. Off camera. That's probably what I'm going to do because the shape is pretty much there. All I need to do is sort of get the sides and the back down to a 600 so I can polish it. The nose needs a little bit more work. I'm going to work that nose a little bit more, get it a little bit more rounded, take that square off. I do want to sort of leave the ledge that's down there that shows the color going down. Probably going to fix this side a little bit up a little bit more. Where's my other piece of plexiglass? Whoops. Should hang like that. When it bounces, should give a really nice flash of the purple and teal on the bottom. Tomorrow when I go to color this, I'm going to use some of my DeShine products to try and bring some of the green out of the yellow and orange that's at the top, because there is a thin layer of green there. So I'm going to try and bring some of that green out a little bit more. I'm also going to shape this edge a little bit because it's a little bit rough. I can't shape it too much because that layer of agate right there is really thin. And that's the biggest weak spot where it's hanging on a chain. I don't want it to be so thin it breaks. But I'm going to take the scratches out and just give it a little bit better of a contouring right there, especially on this area going down. But the great thing is the color is always on. Now, what I mean by always on is even though I'm spinning it, at no point do you see a color disappearing and coming back. The only spot that happens on is this spot right here, which without it being wet is actually showing none of the purple that's there. And if that spot doesn't show up real good once it's polished, then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it down and hope I bring out better, preferably underneath the notch I made right there when I first cut this stone out of the piece of rough that was there. But that's a big stone. I mean, there's my cutting mandrel for one of my little cutting mandrels. This mandrel head is 10 millimeters. So it's bigger than the mandrel is long. So talk amongst yourselves real quick. Or actually, shit, I have enough time. Oh, about knocked the damn thing down. Oh, and did not have it in its seat good enough either. Trying to break my best camera. There we go. I gotta turn this thing off in 10 minutes if I ever want to be able to edit this video off a live stream and pull any of the video and turn it into anything else. So that's what I'm sort of hurrying for, to be able to end this live stream in 10 minutes. Gotta hit it before the 3-hour mark, according to YouTube. And you know me, the first thing I gotta do is get all this dust off my body. All that crap. Ugh. Wet arms. It's hard to pull off with wet arms. Got my nice creases from it pushing on my face. You know it's tight enough. I can always tell if it's tight enough or not by the Darth Vader sound when I breathe out. When my mask is not on right, when it's not tight enough, it blows air right up my glasses so I can feel it too. That's the other thing. 18 people in the room right when I'm going to shut it down. I think that's the most we've had tonight, isn't it? Hello, 18 people. Thank you for being here. Carved an amazing stone. It's not quite finished, but it sure is a frickin' banger, that's for sure. It's trying to stay focused on my face. Oh, I gotta do that. Trying to stay focused on my face. Yes, it's a banger. Oh, dang it, and I just realized I forgot to wipe my mic off. Hello, Shane. How you doing, buddy? Shane got to take his kids. He came home with a pool table when you went rock hounding. Isn't that always the way it is? Like, sounds like you were rock hounding at estate sales, which can be very lucrative. There have been people that paid $15 and $10 for fucking $3,000 and $4,000 stones I once saw a YouTube post about a guy that paid like just a few dollars at an estate sale and brought home a big piece of quartz that had giant gold veins running in it. I mean, it had to be thousands worth thousands. It was huge and it was amazing. T Wampler says, I agree, come back on and we can chat a while. Do you mean live stream? Is that what you mean? Do you mean stop this live stream and start another live stream where we just sit there and talk shit to each other? I'm fine with that if that's what you guys want. Because I got to pee first though. But in all honesty, what I was going to do is I was going to play some Fortnite. That's what I was going to do. I was going to go play with little 13-year-old boys. Games, real games across the internet. If that's what you mean, D, say yes. And I'm yelling into the mic. I don't need to be yelling into the mic right now. I don't have the mic on. I don't have the mask on anymore. I was probably all popping and stuff like that. I have this whole setup for this microphone to work just right. And I only need to yell when I'm all muffled. Not muffled? No need to yell. Like yelling that loud is probably blowing people's eardrums, tell you the truth. Thank you very much, Catfish Hunter. Oh, are you kidding me, Shane? Somebody just drove out into the desert and dropped a pool table and a barbecue. That sounds to me like somebody went out to the desert and had a party, figured that their barbecue and their pool table would be awesome to have at the party, and they were all hung over the next day, and they're like, fuck it, I'm just leaving this stuff out here. I'm not taking it back with me. Like, that's what that sounds like. Or they're a real POS because they're taking their garbage out to the desert and dumping it. Dumps are not expensive. Like, it's not expensive to take your stuff out to the dump and dump it there instead of in our deserts. So if you're watching this show and you're one of those people, don't do that. But I doubt any of my people that watch this show do that kind of crap. They don't take their trash out there. They go out there to take rocks home. Like, that's why we go out to the desert, to see beautiful things and take rocks. D said, yep. Margaret said, I'm not D, but I say yes. Yes, 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 says D. All right, I'll come back on and we can chat for a little while. I'm going to end this live stream real quick. I am going to start another live stream real quick, and I will leave it on the starting page where it says starting soon, and I'm going to run downstairs and go to the bathroom and grab something to drink, and you guys can start chatting and fill the room up, and I'll come back in and talk with you guys for a little while. So on that note, like, share, subscribe, any videos that you think other people might like, and I am definitely going to get that podcast off the ground soon. I need to call a couple of people and see if they're going to be willing to be interviewed. And I did my first conversation on Skype the other day, which some of my podcast interviews are going to have to go through. So I'm going to try and set that stuff up. That should be content you can either watch or listen to. And the good part about listening to it is you can cut stones while you listen to it and not necessarily have to watch it, because I plan on it being talking head stuff. And then at times I will edit video and have pictures and videos that people give me to include into the podcast. So Catfish Miller says, yes, I want to talk more. Good job, Margaret. I don't believe in leaving paper either. Yep, Shane says, I hate litter bugs. That's why he brought their litter home. All right, guys. I love you for watching. I'm going to end this live stream, and I'm going to immediately start another one. It should be back up in just a minute, so pay attention to the channel. We're going to be here. I love you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.